Fergus, sit very nice and still there. Do not jiggle about too much. She's much closer than I thought she was going to be. I don't know where her son is. I'm actually just going to move slightly further away. I don't think it's very nice to be that close to her. She might take offence at us. Unfortunately, we cannot turn this car very well because it has the turning circle of a battleship. There we go. How's that? There we are. Hello, madam. Where is your son? I can't see the sun. What grief. Now, just to keep you posted, we are still working on these new cameras, and so I know it looks like you're staring into a black hole, but that will change. We've just got to fiddle a few settings, and with any luck, out of the shadows will emerge the beautiful picture of, oh, look at that. There she is. She even opened her eyes on time. Gorgeous. That is Thandi, everybody. Thandi killed a fully grown male impala the other day. It is now starting to smell quite rancid. It's just behind where she's lying. She doesn't mind the smell. To her, I suppose, smells like the Sunday roast just about to come out of the oven. Oh, I do like the way you've done the colour there, Fergus. I think it looks rather good. Can you see her son anywhere, Fergus? Do you see him?
No son.
See him nowhere here. If you have just joined us, this is Thandi. Thandi must be 10 by now. I'm not sure exactly when her birthday is. And she has a son called Tamba, who's 8 or 9 months old. Tamba means rock, and that's because he was born apparently under a rock, and that was chosen by our viewers in the United States, actually, during the Nat Geo TV shows, Nat Geo Wild TV shows that we did earlier this year in January and February. And she's called Thandi, which means, well, basically just means love. You'll get all sorts of newfangled names like she who is loved, the beloved one, she who has been beloved for all time, but it just means love, basically. And what a pretty name it is. Now, she's panting like that, certainly not because it's hot. She's panting like this because she's been eating a huge amount. And like I say, the little twitches and changes that you see with the camera are simply a function of the fact that we're still getting the right colour profiles and sorting out the lighting and that sort of thing. So do bear with us on that, and thank you for bearing with us on it. She's very sleepy. We might not spend a huge amount of time here. I would like to spend some time and then maybe try and come back a bit later. But the thing is with these cats is that they're so popular to so many people that the sighting might fill up a bit later. Anyway, I think for now we'll just enjoy her, even though she's not doing a great deal. She's not swinging from the tree. And then we'll try and find her son at some stage as well. Well, that's really useful. Thank you so much for lying in the grass and doing absolutely nothing. I wonder if we shouldn't do a little loop around and see if we can't find Tamba. Right, well, let's just go around the corner. Right, while we search for him, I believe Tristan has managed to successfully find himself some... never mind, some elephants. Yes, I don't suppose a cheetah would like to run into this one. You can hear she's listening to the sound of my voice. She did lift her head briefly. I thought I heard Thamba eating on the carcass, but that has since ceased. So she hasn't done a great deal since you last left here. I did a big circuit around the place. Now, while she sleeps, we are going to move together, you and I, and we're just going to go round to the carcass, and I'll show it to you where it is. Some of you may well not have been with us during the course of this morning, so we'll just drive around the side and see if maybe he isn't lying next to the carcass. I did a whole loop around here and I couldn't find him anywhere, but he must be here. Hungry little hunter that he is, all the time. Young males, you know, always in need of some sort of sustenance. I just wish he'd put it up in the tree, because then it would be very nice with the light, especially a little bit later on in the afternoon. No, he's not there, but the carcass is there. He may well have broken off a piece and started eating it somewhere else, I suppose. But there is what is starting to niff slightly. Let me just keep quiet for a second. I thought I heard the chewing of bone, but perchance I was mistaken. Yes, some prime rib for young Thamba and his mother this evening. Delicious for them. Maybe we'll just do a little turn around the termite mound, then we'll go back to where she is, and then I think we probably will head out and see if perhaps some elephants don't pop down to the Chitwa Dam, and then we'll try and come back here later, depending on how busy things get. Oh dear. See, I've left my big jacket behind. It's all right, Fergus. I know you're worried about me, but I'll be okay. I'm so tough. I'm so unbelievably tough. Now, I think I was hearing things. I accused Fergus of being stone deaf, but I think it may be that my ears were hallucinating. Can an ear hallucinate? I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll have one last look at her, and then we'll press on and see what else is around the place. Hello, Mom. Going to get up? No. Is that dreadful for you, Fergus, or shall I?
No.
Roll back a meter. There we go. Yes, her belly is very full. I don't think she's going to be too concerned about trying to find food this afternoon. Alright, Tristan is still with his elephants. We are going to press on from here and see what else Chitwa has to offer, and we'll probably come back a little bit later. Well, I'm with one of them. We're with Thandi, who is now having her dinner, and interestingly, she keeps looking up and behind where we are, so I'm hoping that young Thamba is possibly around there, that area, maybe. What say you, Fergus? Do you think so, maybe?
Maybe.
There, look, you see how she's looking. And as I was saying this morning, I don't know if you were watching this morning, you know, once the cubs get to the age that Thamba is now, of course, they will begin to bully their mothers off kills. And so she almost has to eat when he's not around. And if it's not when he's not around, it's, you know, it's when he's satiated himself. Sometimes she'll feed for a while before she takes him to the kill. this is just beautiful, isn't it? V, you ask quite an interesting question. You say, why don't male leopards join coalitions? V, it's a difficult question to answer, I think, because, and not so much because of the leopards, but because of the only social cats. You know, the only social cat in the world, of course, is... Sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to quickly call myself in here. The stations I've relocated Thandi. She is static, same place, no sign of the youngster yet. Right, so what were we saying? Oh, right. Okay, so the only social cat in the world, of course, is a lion. And we're not convinced as to why they're social. So there are various answers about how they look after it's easier for them to look after their cubs, how it's easier for them to catch prey. In the terms of the latter, it turns out that actually often a single lioness on her own will eat as much as 3 lionesses in a pride. So that's not necessarily a good answer. We think it's probably got to do with protecting the babies and making sure that they are not killed by marauding males. Now, no other cat seems to have that issue. Why no other cat has that issue, I'm really not sure. But there would be no point in a male forming a coalition because, well, I mean, by definition, leopards are solitary, and it is the most successful strategy for them to be solitary. Go ahead. I know that's not a very satisfactory answer. Yeah, about 4 out of 5. They're just wanting to know on the radio how well we're seeing her. And she's feeding on the ground. Isn't that light perfect? Now, of course, if she was really wanting to perform for us, she would go into the tree immediately. I love the sight of her just when she sticks her head up through the gap there. It's just gorgeous. Not sure which piece she's eating there. I think it's probably a hind quarter. Lady Starfire, you say, is this leopard eating a buffalo? Lady Starfire, no, this leopard is eating an impala. And that is the horn that you can see there. A buffalo is far, 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 far too large for a female leopard to kill. She wouldn't have a chance at killing a buffalo. She'd be completely out of her depth, and buffalo would make mincemeat of her quite quickly if he could get hold of her. She weighs probably in the region of about 35 to 40 kilograms, which is about 90 pounds or so, and a big buffalo bull will weigh 600 kilograms in this area, and that's about 1,400 pounds. So she'd have no chance at all with the buffalo. That said, I have heard a story, now whether it's true or not I don't know, but I've heard a story of a male leopard killing a giraffe once. Now, I mean, that's just a ridiculous thing to my mind, but apparently it has happened. Shelley, you say, is this the same kill from this morning? Yeah, definitely. They will take a little bit of time to finish off a kill like this. It's a large piece of prey for her, and a really nice piece of prey. I'm just not sure why she's looking off behind us. Oh, she can hear the other vehicles approaching now. and you'll be able to see that our shadows are slowly lengthening over the top of her. And it's at this stage, of course, that we want her to go up into the tree so that the glorious golden light of the African winter sunset can have her in her full resplendence. What I'm going to do is probably just move slightly forward so that this chap can get a good view with his guests. Well, no, our shadow might touch her, but we should be okay. Can you still see her there, Ferg? Yeah. There we go. I was just saying hello to the tracker who used to work where I used to work. I believe poor old Tristan is still searching for his cheetah, so let's go and find out how that's going. Indeed, eating a lovely meal. I'm still waiting for Tumba to pitch up, hoping that perhaps he will. And with any luck, shortly we'll be joined by him, but the light remains completely magnificent on her face. And she's very, very hungrily eating. We really are having a wonderful time here with her. I think she's having that really prime cut there of the hind quarter. And just tearing it to shreds. Well-deserved meal. Now, I really think it's quite interesting how different her colour is from Shadow's and Karula's. I think she's much more golden, and not quite as golden as in Kanyeni, for example, but she's much golder than Shadow is. And there's definitely a real variation amongst leopards from the same mother, clearly. They've almost certainly got the same father. I mean, they look so similar. Interestingly, their father, I think, is also their grandfather, if I'm not mistaken. And if you are and you view a shadow, of course, a leopardess from the far west of where we traverse, that's just gorgeous. Isn't it wonderful? Well done, Fergus. You're making art. It's afternoon. Surely it can't be long before the little one arrives. And of course not a very pleasant afternoon if you happen to be that impala, but, well, it's no longer noticing these things. Such concerns of living and dying and being eaten have long left its consciousness, along with the need to be part of the rut, of course, which is why it got nailed. Will Jane, you say Thandi has a 3-3 spot pattern, and what does that mean? Thandi, at least Will Jane, what it means is if you look above the whisker line and below the nose, there are 3 spots on the left and 3 spots on the right. And that's one of the best ways to identify a leopard. Guys, I'm afraid what I'm going to have to do is move back and out of here because there's other vehicles in here and they're trying to get a view. I'll draw you a picture. Let me move out your way. Will I make it? All right. Well, we're going to do a little bit of a turnaround and see if we can't find the youngster. and then we'll come back here. I'm sure he's around here somewhere. It would be wonderful if we found him lurking in a tree, perhaps. Alright, so let me show you. I might even have a picture of something where I could show you. Yes, I can do it on my camera. I'll show you the 3-3, and we might even be able to see the 3 spots. Not that I've taken a picture of Thandi, have I? Fergus? No.
I think you downloaded one.
I downloaded one, yes, from the internet. Let me just quickly... From Thandi's Facebook page, that's exactly right. I don't know if I have one of her face, actually. That's a bit depressing. I can show you Tumba. Okay, so let's go zoom. Oh, no, that's Thandi. Now, I've just got to figure out how this works. Oh, there we go. All right, yeah, there we go. So, just over there, you can see 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. Okay? That's above the whisker line. There's the whisker line, obviously. And so you count those 3 spots above the whisker line, and then the other side she's got exactly the same. Now her mother Karula was a 3-4. She had 3 that side and 4 that side, so you read it, you say it the same way that you would read it, from left to right. And Kanyeni, for example, is a 4-4. Shongile is actually a 4-4, though we thought she was a 4-3 at one stage. She's 4-4. Hosanna is 3-3 as well. And so that, combined with where they live, is a good way of recognizing them. But of course, let me just zoom out a bit here. You can recognize them by all of these spots because none of them are the same on any 2 leopards. And so you could look at the spots just above the head, which we did with Karula. Of course, they spelt out the word wow. You could look at the spots underneath the chin. They form sort of a necklace, and you can look at those spots. So there are lots of different ways of telling what leopard is what. But those ones above the whiskers are very reliable, and what most sort of leopard researchers will use. So I hope that kind of explains. I quite like that photograph, Fergus. Don't you?
I was wondering earlier who was soft, me or you.
Fergus, there's nothing soft about my picture. I'm going to turn it off now so that you can't cast aspersions on my ability to find focus. Alright, we're going to look around a little bit for Tumba over here. While we do that, Tristan apparently is driving into the sunset like Clint Eastwood. Oh, it's an advertisement for a Japanese car company. He shall remain nameless. Fergus is there. Do you think she's going to go up the tree? I rather hope she will. Right, now apparently Leo Smith is bravely out in a storm. Just had it. It's Thandi high up in the tree. And we're just going to wait for the other vehicle to stop, and then we'll probably go around the other side of her and try a repeat. Oh, she's just, you know what she's doing? She's sharpening her claws. Shall I just go back, Ferg? Like so. You're quite a fussy fellow, eh? A little bit more here, a little bit more there, and that's not enough, is it? Oh, that's wonderful. Gorgeous. Now I wonder, surely the baby must come now. Surely little Tumba must decide that he wants his supper. Now, this is of course a very good place for her to be resting, and she's resting like that because it's while it's probably not as comfortable as on the ground, as we head towards the night time, that is when the lions and hyenas are going to start moving around, which means that for her to close her eyes and get some shut-eye, this is a much better place than on the ground to be. So let's go around the other side there. Now, I hate to say this, Fergus, but well, things looking a little red here. You know, on the leopard, it looks quite red in the picture, maybe slightly. We are working with these cameras, as I've said to you, everybody. I think the colour has been infinitely better this afternoon than it has before. Are you guys, is there someone on standby? Sorry, I'm just going to find out if I can stay. Sorry, everybody, we're going to have to leave. Make your way. Sorry, my radio is hopeless. Will you just keep me posted for a gap after you've left? Let's give you one last look at that. And then we're going to have to head out, I'm afraid. Isn't that lovely? That is a very contented, very, very happy cat, of whom I'm going to take one picture and then we're going to have to leave. Sorry everybody, but we've had a wonderful time with them and we're just going to pull out. Dawanana my gojan. If I could ever tell you the story about how the man on the front of that car's employment was ended where I used to work, you would both laugh and cry at the same time. Anyway, he's a lovely fellow and I'm glad he's managed to find further employment. Derek Magojan is his name. I think he's related to Zordwa. Yeah. He comes from the same village. Righty, on we go. Stations, I'm out of the Thandi lock, but I would like to make my way back with the infrared if there's a space, but there's no rush. Can't be no problem. I don't think we're going to get back into that sighting. It seems that there are two people waiting to get in, which is a pity, but we did have her in the perfect light. Now, Claire, you're wondering if inbreeding is a problem with the cats. It's not in an area like this, and it does happen from time to time. We know it does. We've seen it happen, Thandi herself is a product of inbreeding. We think that her father is also her grandfather. We know what that means. And that's no problem for the cats. Up to, I believe, between 3 and 6 generations. I've read both, I've certainly heard both. I'm not sure that I've read both. So I don't think it's a major train smash for them. For the cats, I mean. And, yeah, I mean, it's in an area like this where it's a completely open system, a completely sort of natural system, it's not a problem. Because the males disperse as they're supposed to and the females disperse like they're supposed to. I'm sure from time to time it happens to the extent that there might be a genetic deformation or so, but I don't think it's a major train smash in an area like this. It is quite chilly tonight, isn't it, Fergus? It would be nice if I had a jacket.